Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Jasmine and thank you for joining us here today at Lincoln Home National Historic Site for another episode of At Home with the Lincolns. Today we're going to be sharing the stories of some very special individuals of the Lincoln home with you today. Specifically, these individuals are people who often get left out of the extensive literature of Abraham Lincoln. Any guesses at who I might be referring to? Of course, there are quite a few people who deserve some more spotlight in the Lincoln legacy. Today, we're specifically going to be focusing on the hired girls of the Lincoln home. When they lived here, the Lincoln family hired individuals to help with work around the house. A majority of the hired help were young, single women, with records suggesting that the Lincolns employed roughly 20 different hired girls during their 17 years in this home. Although typically in her teens or early 20s, the youngest hired girl was just 8 years old, and the oldest was around 75. In addition to being of a variety of ages, their period of employment also varied, from as short as a couple of weeks to as long as 10 years. Their specific duties were different depending on the individual. Although generally these girls were hired to help with things such as cooking, cleaning, looking after the Lincoln boys, helping with shopping, serving, and doing the dreaded laundry. It was hard work, but it was paid work. How much do you think the Lincolns paid the hired girls for their services? It might be less than you think. Information suggests that the Lincolns paid these girls about $1.25 to $1.50 per week for their services. That might not sound like a whole lot, but back then, $1 went a little further than it does today. In 1850 Springfield, for $1, you could get 10 pounds of sugar, 5 pounds of coffee, or a pair of slippers. And if you had 50 more cents, you could get a nice pair of boots. In addition to her pay, it is also possible that the hired girl received room and board for her services. This is the hired girls' room. Not all of the hired girls lived in the Lincoln home, but some of them did. Some of them were immigrants or from immigrant families, so living in the Lincoln home may have been the more convenient or affordable option. Hired girls came from a diverse set of ethnic backgrounds for the time period, with hired girls of African American, European American, Irish, and Portuguese descent working in the Lincoln home. Not only the hired girls, but the Lincolns' neighbors, friends, and many other people they knew also came from many places and backgrounds. In fact, by 1860, the year Lincoln was elected, 33.7% of Springfield's population were individuals born in a different country. Springfield's residents represented 24 different countries, including but not limited to Ireland, Germany, the Madeira Islands, which is currently an autonomous region of Portugal, England, Scotland, Canada, Norway, France, Switzerland, and other European and non-European countries. The hardworking women that worked here in the Lincoln home represented the dreams and efforts of many who, like Abraham Lincoln, wanted to better their situation. Like Lincoln's friends and neighbors, they came from many different places and walks of life. They inevitably had a real impact on not only the Lincoln children's lives, but also on Abraham and Mary, in ways big and small that we may never truly understand and that history books may never be able to capture completely. However, we look forward to sharing with you more stories of the Lincoln's hired girls and the diverse individuals who played a role in the Lincoln's lives. Before we go, we would like to ask you, what interests you most about the hired girls? Please tell us in the comments down below. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time at Home with the Lincolns.